totally. Bauchi State, Taraba State, Niger State, Kwara State, Yobe State, Katsina State, Kebbi State have closed down their schools. Dr. Chuksma, in your country, in my country, in 2025, this is the sad reality. All of these state governments talked about security measure, that they rather let it be this way until they can do something better. Is this not something to be ashamed of? Are the wishes and the whims and caprices of these assailants, is this not what is happening, unfolding? Do they not appear to be winning in our very eye?
Yes, it's at this point I begin to wonder why we find ourselves like this. Is God punishing us? Or are we reaping the rewards from our efforts? Whatever you sow, you shall reap. And that's it. Don't forget, these governors collect security votes.
Right.
What are these votes used for? First and foremost, is it because they are put into the wrong use? I have said, Nigeria, I don't know why and what the problem is. We have one of the best fighting machinery when we talk about on the international playing ground. They're not to talk of in Africa. I think we're number one in Africa. There's no peace keeping platform we go. We don't win all the laurels and awards. And yet when we come back, we fail. Motivation, patriotism, poor equipment, a whole lot of things, corruption out there brings about, and again, do not do, like who said the last time, I can't remember which army chief was when we said do not shoot and all that one, I can't recall now, I don't want to misquote anybody. And there are a lot of things on the negativity side that's affecting us. But let me put it this way, why are these insurgents going after students?
Right.
Especially female students. There are reasons. Let me give you the 6 reasons. And I want everybody to be clear on it. 6 main reasons, and these are the reasons why they went after the Chibok girls at the first instance. First and foremost, pleasure toys for the men, for the boys. Well, I'm talking for the boys, for the soldiers. If you know what I mean. There's certain words I cannot use on air.
Right.
But you understand what I mean by, pleasure toys. That's the first one. Secondly, cooks. They need people to be cooking for them. Doing the here. Thirdly, medicals, to provide soothing and medical treatments, like running young clinics. They don't believe in the male, they are just there down to do the fighting, carrying the arms. So they need these young females who will be dedicated in providing succor to their medical needs. Fourthly, other domestic washing of clothes if need be, and other things they should do to make sure their camps are clean at all points in time in terms of hygiene. Fifthly, human shields. In the event of any reprisal, any attack on them, they will use these girls as human shields. I hope you're listening to what I'm saying. And last but not the least, the 6th one, for negotiation. To strike a deal package. So whichever way it is, it's a win-win for them. The question is, all the girls that have been abducted, kidnapped, or taken away, are they always all released back? The answer is usually no. I'm not even going to talk about what happens to them in terms of the traumatic aspects. But if you know, for crying out loud, you are in government, or you're a citizen of this country, and you have a daughter, or you have a wife, or you have a mother, first question that comes to your mind, would you like your daughter, your wife, your mother to be defiled by another? The answer is no. Then if you have a daughter of young age, who is not yet mature, who is under 18, to be defiled by somebody, without her consent, you can never be a father, you can never be a man. That girl will never look up to you as a father. Never in your life. Even if she's released, that trauma is to still be on her. She will be traumatic against the father and against the state. And that's why we have suicide bombers. So Nigeria should be very, very careful in its dealings. We need to flush out this meanness before we create another problem for ourselves. And that's why when these girls are back, you just don't give them back to their families at once. They must be in a center for a minimum of 1 month for a proper debriefing. You need to send in people that will evaluate them psychologically to ensure that trauma leaves them at once before they return back to society. If not, you are creating another problem. And that's why we need to look at it. So knowing these 6 points which I've just mentioned about why they go after these girls, these baddies will continue to go. Now, if you think, shutting down schools at night time, they will now come during the daytime.
Right.
The modus operandi will change. So we need to know what we are doing as a people. We need to ensure we flush out these insurgents, these terrorists out at once. And we must come up with a modus operandi on how best this operation can be done. It's not the shutting down of schools. You shut down the schools, you just want to kill the education. Unity schools will then go off. Because people send their children from the south to the north for studies, or from the north to the south. So if you close down the boarding schools, where would they stay? And even in the north, from your house to the school is quite some distance. You ask a child to be a day student. How do you cope with that child going off to school? By the time the child gets to school, be exhausted. Then what education are you going to put in an exhausted child? So there are many fundamentals we need to think about.
Dr. Maha,
I said, are we going to start online education?
Dr. Maha, let's talk about the closure of the schools again in this light. If the schools were not shut or closed down, what would you propose the state government do? What should have been the next best thing to have been done? Especially in a time where Southwest governors are raising a point about unregulated interstate migration. I mean, that's another very important point, because you don't know who is a genuine member of a community, who is a genuine citizen of Nigeria, because of all of this, you know, porous borders and interstate borders, porous borders, and even major border in Nigeria. All of these issues are there. But if the state governments were not to close down the schools, what should be the next best thing to do?
We are just going after the shadow. Why don't you go after the real substance? Who are the financiers? Who are the sympathizers?
And in the interim,
yes,
while we are doing that.
Hold on. I know where you're heading for now. And that is the first thing. To start with, as a Nigerian, the Constitution provides, as long as you're a Nigerian, you can walk from one end of the country to another end of the country without hindrance or disturbance or molestation. No one can stop you from entry to any state, as long as you're a Nigerian. I don't need to have an ID card for that. It's only if and where you doubt my nationality, I can then show you something that will profile me to be said to be a Nigerian. However, I dare say that majority of our national ID cards are even in the hands of foreigners for reasons best known to them. In the same way and manner, you go down and ransack a Nigerian's house, you find other foreign passports. So it's a no-go area. And who is going to do the profiling to start with? To start asking? It's going to be ridiculous. You mount checkpoints along the road. So I need a visa to go from one state to another state, or what? Or a letter of accreditation to say, with the advent of emails and everything, on the laptop and everything, you can print your letter to say, yes, so-and-so is a bona fide member of so-and-so village or clan, is so-and-so local government, is from so-and-so state. That doesn't solve the problem. The problem there, if at all, schools should be mounted with security. Whether it's day classes or night classes, we still have enough security personnel, enough JTF security, and all round mounted in and out.
Dr. Ma, do you think we have enough? Really? Because the Commander-in-Chief just told, all the police, the ones that are carrying umbrella and bags, serving VIPs as details that they should return to the barracks. Now, we've heard that we have less than 376,000 policemen to cater for 236 million people. The Nigerian military are overstretched. So you mean every school in Kebbi, let's say for secondary school, let's imagine that they have like 100. Do we have enough to put them in place in all those schools? We do the same in Katsina, we do the same thing in Niger, we do the same thing across those states. How many are the personnel of the Nigerian military, either the army, either the Nigerian police, that we even have that will go throughout the state? And I think that's why Temitope asked that question. If they are not closing the schools in the interim, what else can they do? Do we have the numbers to go around?
Yes, you see, in the same way and manner banks are being protected, schools can be protected. And I'll tell you, you can't have enough. And that is the truth based on the numbers which you and I know. However, you have the basic and you have cluster formations of various security agencies in certain points of clusters, where from that cluster they can spring and hit and get the issues. Now, we speak of both ground and air support, and that's it, where you have surveillances going around, picking up things and information. We used to have the highway police before, which are almost extinct now. The highway police was a different branch or arm of the Nigerian police that patrol the highways, up, down, up, down. They're hardly static in any particular place. These are the kind of things we need to have in nook and crannies. But again, fueling is money, security is money. Are the state governors ready to spend money? Instead of using these money for stupid campaigns, spending money on things that are of no consequence to us? Put in fuel, get vehicles, get these patrol vehicles to be going all round. Great welfare packages for the security operatives who will then put their lives on the line. Because there's nothing that motivates a security operative better than knowing that in event anything happens to me, my family will be catered for by the government. If that is in place, you'll be surprised what one security operative will do. There must be a synergy between all the security agencies that carry arms in Nigeria, whether it's from the DSS, the police, the army, NDLA. As long as you carry firearms or the customs, we are going to be drafted into these things. And that is the thing. We need to do these things and put these things in place. Yes, in the course of doing this, it's going to cost us certain things. We might say, okay, customs, you also carry arms. We want all those of you who carry arms in customs to be drafted into the JTF. The rest of you can be at the border points. You don't need arms there. And again, we're going to regulate how much you can bring in. We can tell the Nigerian government, look, for some time, we're going to have a freeze on what you can import into the country. For now, until this minister is being checked.
All right, Dr. Maha.
Yes.
At this time, we have several intertwined problems. And I'm going to ask if this that I'm going to reel out from Vanguard newspaper, where it says that to speed up arms requests, that's according to presidency. It also says here, school abductions threaten northern Nigeria's children's future. That's according to a warning from Amnesty International there. Another said, that's where I said that Southwest governors are talking about unregulated, migration, interstate migration, or even international migration here. All of these issues, do you not think that we've sat too long, on a keg of gunpowder, and now it is haunting us in Nigeria, where at this time, where we have series of abductions in so close a time, in quick succession. This is where we're now beginning to want to deal with problems we ought to have been taken, away one step at a time. And it also came from the international community about a month back, where the president of the US was talking about this genocide thing. So we have this compounded problems, complex problems at this time. Does it speak to systemic failure, of some of our institutions, ranging from the police, security agencies, totally, the government, federal government, the government at every, level of it, from local to state, where now, we do not have a functional local government. And that's how it is in several other states. Are these things, this security issue, did it not stem from a systemic failure of our institutions?
When you use the word systemic failure of our institutions, you seem to isolate to say it's just those institutions that failed. Those who have failed are all of us, including you and I. And I'll tell you why. This is democracy. If I have a councillor representing my ward at the local government, and I've not reported to my council, telling my council that the ward in which I live, which he represents, is uninhabitable, then I have failed.
Do you not think that is coming from apathy now?
I'm coming somewhere. Hold on. You need to bombard the house of that councillor, mount pressure on him, so when he gets back to the local government, he tells the chairman that life is unbearable for me. You need to do something of my ward. The level of insecurity in my ward is unacceptable. The chairman does something. Then the chairman, again, if the totality of what is happening in his own local government is so much, he needs to go to the states and raise an objection. The National Assembly, the people from the states, from the state assembly, from that local government, too, will cry out, like what happened in Benue. The president in Benue, I said the people there failed. The people had the right, politically, to mandate to rise up to the governor to say, no, enough is enough. So that is what we're doing. When we're talking about the educational system, let's go back. Can you remember how many years Nigerian universities were shut down to ASU? What happened? It didn't kill us. Yes, if we say we're going to forfeit 1 year to have a cleansing in Nigeria, so be it. There's always a price for security, and I keep on saying it. If it means the schools are going to be shut down for a while and we're going to achieve what we want to achieve, so be it. Security doesn't come on a platter of gold. It's never given free. It's a cost. If you like bring all the mercenaries in the world, you bring America to come in, you must pay a price. But we're going to look for the cheaper price to pay than a heavier price that may take lives. And that is the point I want to raise up here. First and foremost, the government must first realize we have a problem. The government must say, yes, we are ready to solve the problem. And again, they must have this synergy between the government, the security agents, and the people to say, yes, we must come together. So when we see something, we cannot do it, then we say something. I'm not going to use this medium to say, oh, everybody has a right to defend himself, clamor to carry on arms. But if push comes to shove, it might come down to that. And when it comes to that, we're going to have a state of anarchy. And that is something that is worrisome. So we need to ensure the government now doesn't sit on its balls and starts up and comes up with something, a blueprint, and put it to action. That is the thing. But there's a price going to be paid by everybody. Everybody, I use everybody, including you and I.
All right.
So now, please, it's not just a governmental thing. It's not just a security agency. The security agencies report to somebody. And if the person they report to is not ready to listen, there's so much they can do. I'm not holding brief for them, but that's how it works.
All right.
You appoint a person as an advisor to you. If the person gives you advice and you refuse to take the advice, is he an advisor? The answer is no. Please, we need to understand these things, the narrative, let it change. But the truth which is certain, we have a problem, a security problem in the country. And we need to get it resolved.
Dr. Ma, it's been reported, virtually all the papers this morning, that the governors of the Southwest have been meeting, as far as security is concerned. And from the Nigerian Tribune that we had this morning, the Nigerian Tribune, Insecurity, Southwest governors advocate enhanced forest surveillance. And the writers to that talked about want the federal government to deploy forest guards across region, to set up regional security fund, intelligence sharing system, and they are demanding state police like immediately, and they are expressing concern on unregulated interstate migration. So the first two writers wanted the federal government to deploy forest guards across region and setting up regional security fund and intelligence sharing system. What's your take on that? Do you think it's a step in the right direction? And I'm asking that very carefully because there is a regional security network named Amatekun that immediately the late Arakunri passed on. They have been, a shadow of what they used to be. So when these governors are talking about regional security funding, intelligence sharing, and asking for forest guards, don't you think it's just politicians saying what they think the people wants to hear, or if actually they act on it, it will be a step in the right direction?
Now, the very thing we are accusing the national security agencies for is going to happen at the state level.
How do you mean?
Please mind what I'm saying. We've said that the federal security agencies are not doing what we want. They are being marginalized. They are being skewed to one particular direction, protecting persons. You don't need to go far. Go and see where the state security apparatus are. They're just there for a certain segment of people. When the state has its own security agencies, the governors, who are the chief security officers of the state, will use the same security agents for their own personal usage. Let's call a spade a spade. It will not get very well. People will still be marginalized. However, if indeed they're interested in the security of their states, let them first raise a state army. What I mean, a state army, state security apparatus, who are there, first and foremost, and get them deployed into the Nigerian police within that state. And tell the state police command, these guys will remain in the states, and tell the IG of the president, we shall get that, and to say, you cannot move them outside my states. If any state needs policemen, let them go and raise their own men up. That is one way out. To say, okay, Osun State has been able to raise up 30,000 policemen, Osun State will pay their salaries, they will join the Nigerian police, but they will be used within Osun State Police Command. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. The reasons are not
you saying so that
we are talking about
these ones that have been this particular template of yours? You are saying the Osun State Police, those persons will be recruited from here. Osun State Police will pay them, but they will still be under the federal control. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, or should state government will pay them, but they'll still be under federal control. They cannot be taken anywhere out.
Why not state police directly?
Now, there's a reason being is to ensure we do not have the same structure of marginalization within what we are accusing the federal for. You need to be very, very careful. Like they say, there's a Yoruba adage which says, they came when they take beat first wife. If they wait for second wife, when second wife come in. I don't know if you get the point I'm saying. Those of us who are in the security industry understand what I'm talking about. But that is the only way we can have it. Or, on the other hand, you can take a cue from the Lagos State government, the way it's providing security, where you now make sure that you ask the federal, recruit so and so amount of me, I will cater for it, I will take care of it like we have with the RRS in Lagos, to beef up the state command structure. Where you have the RRS, which has a dual reporting line, both to the governor and, of course, the commissioner of police, because they're all policemen. But again, in the RRS, you also have some that who are from other security agencies, from the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy, including the civil defense.
All right,
yes.
Dr.
So that's the thing. It's funding.
Okay, there's an aspect of this old school shuts down that we haven't explored until now. Schools have been shut down. This aspect is the aspect of the economy. And now I'm not talking with respect to the government now, because the government needs to deal with this. But I'm talking about the teachers that will be out of jobs, albeit temporarily, but out of jobs all the same. We're talking about other businesses, small businesses in the schools, around the schools, that will be also, you know, out of jobs in a way. How do you think the federal, state governments, all of these governments, how do you think they should look into this? Because this is, like I said, it's a compound, you know, problem. It's very complex, hydra-headed. Once you touch it, it touches all aspects of human lives. So there are some people who rely on these schools for their daily living. How do they survive?
I agree with you 100%, but there isn't much all of us can do. It's just like now asking, no matter which religious order you belong to say, can God solve all problems? The answer is no. The truth is, there's always a price to pay. When you leave the public sector and go to the private sector looking for succor, know there's a price. Now, a person working in the ministry and a person working in the private sector, who earns more? The private sector tends to earn more. But there's a risk. If you're not the owner, sole owner, operative of that business, and you're just an employee, you have the risk, you stand the risk of being fired or sacked, and you lose that job. Unlike the ministry, unless you you commit a grievous offense, and that the union cannot protect you, then you are sacked. There is always a risk element. So those teachers in private schools, at the point of ab initio, when they were seeking for employment there, already knew the risk of possible unemployment. If the school closes down, fine. If anything happens, you must have thought of all ramifications of it. So I'm not saying it's good for them. No, don't get me wrong. But there's a limit to what government can do. And that's why I keep on saying there is a price to be paid.
I mean, please hold on, Dr. Maha. Is this not a special case? It's the government that is saying they should be out of job. I mean, when you shut down the schools, and especially with immediate effect, the owners should fall on the government to provide them succor in a way. So are you saying it is okay?
Okay, let me ask you a question now. If the government shuts down your studio, your station now, for security reasons, should government pay your salary? Yes or no?
We're asking
if you can answer that question, no. If you can answer that question affirmatively, then I agree with you. Government is shutting down the schools for security reasons. Unless the school can come up and tell government, we can provide security for not only our students, but for the teachers, and they put that commitment in writing, then the school runs on. If they can show proof that they have in place some machinery, whether it's orthodox or non-orthodox ways of protection of the students there, then they can ride on. But if you cannot, then you have to shut down. Security is not free. You
for joining us on the show today and for making it a robust conversation. Thank you for making sense of some of the issues.
Thank you very much, Dr.
All right, dear viewer, it's been an insightful one. We've had, you know, several aspects of this touched on the shutting of schools, and then the importance, the magnitude of the implication, the consequence of the meeting, you know, with the U.S. officials by our high-level delegates from Nigeria.
Right.
We hope to see positive, outcomes from the meeting, and then from some of our steps, by the government right here.
Practical steps.
Practical steps, change-making steps. Now, we need to see a shift in our security architecture. We do not want more abductions of girls. We do not what we talk about shutting down those schools.
Or children, right?
Yes, we do not want it anymore. Or even adults, like it happened in Irupu as well. But in the coming days, we hope to see all of these changes. We are coasting home now on the show. I believe Femi has something.
Well, I'd rather, it's Cultural Day, right? So I signed it in English, in Yoruba language. So it's only expedient I signed out as well.
Cultural Rabbi.
In the best language ever, if you agree, go to court.
All right.
Akpa de Lola, Femi Ojolo call me. Odavo.
My name is Temitope Oluwola. Thank you for joining us today.
But before that, actually, Temitope, I understand, talking about the questions that have been asked. A social critic, and a musician, first the bad guy. He does conscious music, and he has asked so many questions. And I think our people need to know some of these questions and how we will answer them. We end the program on that level. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hi guys, President announced yesterday that all 38 people that were kidnapped in the Kwara church have regained their freedom. Also that 50 out of the over 300 people kidnapped in Niger have also returned home. There was no mention of any arrests being made, no mention of whether any ransom was paid, no mention of anyone being apprehended and brought to book. This does not cut it. It is just not enough. And I'm tired of one tweet here, one hashtag there, one post there, complaining on social media. We need to do more. We need to do a lot more. Some people have contacted me about a possible peaceful protest later on in the week. That is always a great avenue. However, this is what I think we can do. Matter of urgency. Every citizen needs to call, text, WhatsApp, email, whatever it is, bombard your reps and senators with messaging. However, for this to be effective, I think we all need to be saying the same thing. If there is one message that they're consistently getting, they would have no choice but to listen. We need to call for a public hearing, for broadcast on live TV, live streamed for anybody anywhere in the world to watch. So many billions and billions being budgeted and released for acquisition of arms and ammunition. But what's happening? Why is the military still ill-equipped? Why are military convoys still being ambushed by these criminals? Why was an army general murdered on video? I've put a template of a message that you can send to your reps, to your senator in the caption. I've also put a link to where you can find contact numbers, email addresses, whatever it is for the reps. It's on the National Assembly website. You can just check for yourself. But I think we need to get to sending these messages immediately.